technical difficulties this morning, but Derek did an outstanding job and helping get us to this point. So thank you, Derek, for your hard work and your determination. It was good. Good first scrimmage. Good being able to get out on the Bobby Bowden Field there at Campbell Stadium. It was definitely great to see our guys get out and compete. I thought all in all the defense was really fun around. Did a good job. I had a lot of explosive plays. I thought the defensive front set the tone. There was some mistakes that were made, on both sides of the ball. We had ACC officials here today, and there were too many penalties. You've got to continue to emphasize the technique and fundamentals. Every time it seems that there would be an explosive play offensively, there was, something that happened, either at the point or even away from the point of contact. And we got to get cleaned up. And but it was a great first experience for 19 guys that are new to the program. A lot of guys that were able to kind of put on display, the strides that they're making and the improvements that's taken place within the program. And I thought it was a good work day. The offense responded towards the back half of the scrimmage. We're able to connect on some plays. We're able to have a couple of scoring drives. I mean, I thought all in all it was a good back and forth there throughout, but defense was definitely dominant through the majority of the scrimmage. And so some good individual performances that I thought showed up. It was good to see all the quarterbacks. Jordan, you held Jordan out today. I thought really all the quarterbacks you did a good job of operating. There's some things that we'll get to go back and watch and see just when it comes to read, ball placement, just the overall management of the offense. But I think it was pretty balanced in rep count. AJ and Tate, you've got the majority of the ones reps. As we're bringing Brock along, he got a lot of reps. Was mixed in with the twos and some with the third group. But I thought he did a really good job. I was impressed with how he operated and things he was able to do. It was definitely good to see. I thought offensively, a couple guys have been making plays. Dre Jacobs had a couple of big plays today. I think he's continuing to excel in a very short time since he's been here. Rodney Hill looked great today. CJ Campbell had a big run. I mean, it's good to see some of those young backs that really kind of step up and rise to the occasion. With the opportunities they're providing. Like I said, defensively, the defensive front was really doing a nice job. So linebackers flying around. Had some guys that made some great plays on the perimeter. I think Jerry Jones had an interception. A lot of competitive and enforced, contested, empty catches or catches that they're even throughout. I mean, guys were in good position and definitely battling. But all in all, good first scrimmage. A lot of things, a lot of good tape that we're going to be able to take from that and continue to push as we jump into this next week and going to get better.
All right. First question is going to be Chris D from Noles 247.
Hey, Mike, with regards to the offensive line, I know you said the defense and the defensive lines kind of set the tone, but how did the O-line groups do as they're getting more gelled and work together?
Well, it was good. We had a couple of guys that were held out today, up front. And so for various reasons, a couple of guys that just banged up a little bit. But so we had some different sequences and who was going with which group. But I thought there were some good things that were done. There were some holes created in the run game, some solid at times where we were solid in protection, but like I said, there was just too many negatives in regards to a couple holding calls that whether they or the tight ends, I mean that hurt us on a couple of plays, and those are things that we could absolutely get better and improve upon. But it was good for us to get that work. But I think the guys, they're continuing to gel, continuing to improve. And so I thought it was a solid performance.
Our next question will be Irish Norvell, Warchant.
You mentioned Rodney Hill. One of the I think it was Trey Benson, one of the other running backs, said earlier that like Rodney just had to learn to kind of trust himself after his freshman year. And have you seen him kind of take that jump to where he's kind of asserting himself?
Yeah, I thought today was one of his best days of just, being confident in all things within the play. And it's alignment, the finer details, his tracks. He is a special mover. I mean, he has a special knack to make people miss. Obviously if he gets the open field, he's got, a game changing, acceleration. He showed that, put on display here today. But I like the way, I was in the middle of the field all day, so I just kind of wanted to get a sense of, how guys were operating. And he was one of them that coming into the day, I just wanted to get a sense of, what was his confidence? How was he in the play calls and the things that he needed to do? And that was the thing I was most pleased with. And, performance and, success that he had was great. But I mean, it was him being able to take control of, the where and what to do in that moment. And then, obviously did a really nice job of making plays happen when he got the ball in his hand.
This will be Matt Marshall from the Orlando Sentinel.
Good afternoon, Mike. You talked a little bit about tight ends earlier this week, but what have you seen out of that group, and what sort of expectations do you have for them?
Oh, I mean, I think it's a very talented and deep group that's competing, at a high level, and you have to in that group. I thought guys, did a really solid job. I think most of them all had a catch. Kyle had a couple really good plays. I know Jaheim, he is just a very explosive and a dynamic mover. I love the improvement I've seen with him and just the physicality of the game and understanding all the things that he can do within this offense. And he's really, I think he's grown a lot in the last now 6 practices. Marquiston's continuing to get better. You see that group, and Brian Courtney, was doing good things. I mean, Preston Daniel, was a little limited today. So, anytime you have guys, being able to get into that many, names where they're all fighting for an opportunity. You're all fighting to kind of define their role, what it can be. But it's definitely a fun group to watch and coach, because I mean they're competing and they're performing at a high level. There's some things in the run game we got to get cleaned up today. Like I said, there's a couple holding calls that you can't have, but the guys are definitely working hard.
The Brent Stone, Pulse 247.
Mike, you mentioned Brock a little bit in the opening statement, this being like his first really expansive, live kind of action. I guess, how did he look and how did he handle himself? Just kind of dealing with the speed of the game in his first go around in the scrimmage.
It was good. And like all first time quarterbacks, he was live today. And so, I mean, it was a game for him. And, you got to see his elusiveness, his athleticism. I mean, all things got put on display today. And, he is, the maturity that he brings to the field, for still being a high school, senior. I mean, it was impressive. And you made some really good throws. You put the ball in a good spot, made some throws that he's going to have to learn from. And, you obviously just trust him progression, some of the decisions, but that's all to be expected in the first scrimmage. But for him to come out and operate the way that he did, very intelligent, and the composure that he brought to the field was something that I was impressed with.
This will be Kurt Weiler from Osceola.
Hey, Mike, you talked about the defensive front. I'm wondering who from that group really impressed you today, and I mean, what was it like seeing the depth of that group kind of in that scrimmage setting for the first time?
I mean, there were a lot of guys. I mean, a lot of guys that definitely flashed. I mean, I've been pleased. Going through even just throughout the course of the week. I mean, Fabian made a couple of really good plays. He was trying to limit him on just overall count today, but it was good to see him out there and competing and pushing. Really all that defensive tackle group. I mean, you look at Daryl Jackson, Josh Farmer, Dennis Briggs. I mean, those guys really did a nice job. Daniel Lyons, I saw him flash a few times. The defensive ends really were competing. Patrick Payton, I think he's probably been one of the most improved guys, within this team, in the first 6 practices. And he is embracing, all aspects of what it is to play defensive end. I mean, we know the pass rush ability that he has, really trying to fight and trust technique in the run game. You know, obviously Jared was somebody that you felt his presence. It's good for Gilbert to be able to get out there. Byron Turner, some guys, that are all pushing and trying to find a role as they're competing together. So I thought it was good. It wasn't all great, but there were a lot of things that we're going to be able to learn from, and really that entire defensive front is very, very competitive, and you're excited to watch them continue to grow.
Back to Chris Neat.
Mike, what are the benefits after a first scrimmage for the team in the sense of maybe changing expectations or understanding what they have to work on as you guys focus on the last 9 practices of spring?
Yeah, well, the expectations won't change. It's going to be our expectations improvement. Whether a guy went out and just had the best scrimmage in the world, I expect him to be better, come Tuesday. And there's still the finer details of what they're doing and how they're doing it. And then we got to continue to push the tempo. It's been a big point of emphasis here this week. I thought there were some good moments, and then there was times where we slowed down, and that's going to happen on a first scrimmage. You don't have coaches on the field. You got to really go through and just making sure your communication is on point. So there was a few procedural issues that we got to clean up, but the expectation for everybody, whether you came out and you didn't perform the way you wanted to, or whether, like I said, whether you did, it's about going to get better. And each day we've got to capitalize on every practice and the scrimmages that are in front of us. It's about showing that improvement as a team. But starting with the individual techniques and things that we can control.
Back to Ira.
With some of the offensive line transfers, those are guys that have played a ton of football, but this is the first time you've seen them in a kind of a game situation since they've been here. Was there anything that you didn't expect, or was it pretty much what you expected from those guys?
Guys that play football, it's still learning new languages. There's certain techniques, certain things that we expect, and how we do things that might have been different than what they've done before. So, the experience of being on the field is one thing, and it's good. You see that in how guys work. But what I love about scrimmage is now you got to apply it. You got to apply it at a very fast rate, and we're challenging guys. Casey Broderick's playing a lot of center. Throughout this spring, we want to be able to have that competition, but also just be able to have that depth as well. But he's also getting reps at guard. Moving him around. Jeremiah Myers. You're doing a lot of good things. I like what I'm seeing. Him and KJ both are. They're all very talented players, but now you're learning an entire new language, and it's the application, it's the speed. We do have a good defensive front, and I think that's one thing that all 3 of those guys appreciate. What they have to go against every day, and it's pushing them to get better, but also having to become more detailed and more confident in the things we're asking them to do. It's all part of their process.
Back to Matt Marshall.
Mike, you've got a really experienced group, a lot of veterans coming back this year. How much does that benefit you guys in these kind of scrimmages where most of these guys kind of know they're expected from them, what you guys expect from them? How much does that kind of benefit during these times?
I think it's all good. It happened. It benefits us in practice in scrimmages. There's some. We got to experience a little bit of rain today, and some adversity that it was coming, throughout. I try to create that as much as possible. And so they understand it. I don't ever want anybody to be comfortable, as we're going out there. Life's not comfortable most of the time. So, for us, it's about trying to continue to challenge ourselves, even with the returning guys, but then also for them to help the young guys in quickly transitioning to the expectation and how we're going to operate, what we're going to do, because we do have 19 newcomers, and that's something that's a big part of our team. And guys that got their first work, they're they're on the field today.
This will be Aslan Hajabandi from Warchant.
Coach, I was wondering was Jordan kind of hanging around you most of the scrimmage, and for the guys out there performing that are used to playing with Jordan, him not being there might be, a little bit of a letdown for those guys, but how dialed in and what sort of effort did you see from everybody, despite the fact that the number 1 quarterback wasn't largely, performing?
But no, I mean, Jordan was there on the sideline. I wanted to kind of have him in a position where, he got a chance to talk with, with those quarterbacks, what he was seeing, what he was doing to be able to encourage others. That's, you want everybody to always be available. Right? That is something we desire, but that's not always the reality. And so, you got to have an opportunity to go out there and compete with the guys that could go. It was your time to go show up, and obviously we made Jordan unavailable today. He's been practicing at I think an elite level throughout the first 5 practices. I mean, it was good for him to get a little bit different perspective. It was good to see those other guys get close to 40 reps, between 30 and 40 reps apiece, and it was good. And so. The guys around you doesn't really matter who's taking the snap. You better go out there and play your best. So that's the challenges that we're put in front, and what we did.
All right, next will be Logan Robinson from Bowl Game Day.
Hey, Coach. Bondravius had a good start to spring camp. Also, hi, Keem. How did they look in the first scrimmage today?
They were good. I mean, like I mentioned, Dre made some big plays. Scored a touchdown. Had a couple of explosives that showed up. So some things that he's got to continue to improve upon. But I mean, it's definitely not too big for him. And I love just his playmaking ability, the way he competes. I think I talked about him early in the week. Just at post practice. He's what we thought we were getting, and we thought we were getting one of the best receivers in the country. And I think he's going to have a chance to be a really, really special player as his career progresses. What that looks like right now is going to be based upon what he does. And but I'm definitely excited about that. Keem made a couple early plays, which was good to see him. Also just the consistency of all things, and that's Dre, Keem, basically any one of the 19 newcomers. They all, they're all learning on the run, and especially the 10 guys coming from high school. I mean, it's all new to them, but he definitely shows the ability. He shows the want to. I mean, he's got a great work ethic, and very smart young man. I'm excited about both those guys and what their future is going to be. But it was definitely good to see them out there making plays.
Back to Ira.
You have a lot of experience in the secondary, but you also have some guys in new roles and some newcomers. I was wondering how you felt about how they played.
No, I thought they did well, and there were some really good plays that showed up, and they're good in coverage. There was good opportunities to show them, and for them to show up in the run game and the passing game. That is a confident group, and because like you said, a lot of guys that have played. A high level for us, but then you also trying to have them move around a little bit. And, with Kevin Noles being out for the spring, I mean, I think one of the guys that's probably been one of the early stars of spring has been Grady Vance. He's played at a very high level just throughout it. But we're also being able to take a different looks. Like we're putting him at nickel some, he's playing corner some. I think Jerry Jones, Azari, Bernardo Green. I mean, all those guys were able to move around and just try different sequences, whether it's nickel, corner, field boundary. I mean, it's a good group. And really pleased with the way that our safeties are elevating their game. I mean, Amari Cooper's done a really nice job in his transition. I think he's building his confidence. I really like what I see there. Shaheem Brown was back as much as he's been available here this spring. So we've kind of been able to get him back in the fold. KJ Kirkland's another newcomer. That I really like a lot. Quindarius, Jones is another. I mean, both of those guys. We're very excited about what they've shown in 6 practices. We think they've got really bright futures. Fentrell has been a great addition to our team. The competition, the mindset. He's a talented young man. Made some good plays today too. So it was all in all, it was a really good performance by defensive backfield. But still some things that we're going to have to continue to work on, and just overall communication as those guys are in different places.
All right, thank you, Coach.
I think you guys have a great one.
Recording stopped.